What is it? Oh, there's some, but it's very well. That's the same. Oh, Chris is here. Oh.
Red.
Can I please get a motion to reconvene public meeting?
Motion.
All in favor? Motion so carries. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Vice President, Mylin, and then a moment of silence for our University of Virginia families and victims.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the district clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Murphy? Mrs. Mallon? Present. Mrs. Kennedy? Mrs. Augulus?
Present.
Dr. Adams?
Present.
Mrs. Napolitano-Ferno? Mr. Spencer? Mr. Kohifar?
Present.
Mr. Hauser?
Present.
Mrs. Poppy? Present. And myself, the district secretary.
Can I please have a motion to authorize the board president and/or board vice president to call a recess as needed during this meeting without requiring an additional board vote?
Motion.
All in favor? Motion so carries. Can I please have a motion to accept the minutes of the October 25th, 2022 Board of Education meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion so carries. Moving on to recognitions by Dr. Adams, Superintendent of Schools, perfect scores on Regents and/or flags.
So it's really exciting tonight to see all of our students that are here to be recognized. It's one thing to get a really good score on a Regents exam. It's another thing altogether to get a perfect 100. There's always a decimal place or an annotation that could take a point off to get that 99. But tonight we get to recognize the children the students who in June 2022 received a perfect score either on the Regents exam that they took or the FLAX exam, which is the foreign language exam equivalent of Regents exam. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Poppy to come with me down at the bottom of the stage where we will acknowledge our students. So, and with a perfect score on the Flax B Spanish exam, Cameron Angelo. With a perfect score on the Flax B French exam, Lara Booth Alam. Lara, we're going to ask you to stay up here. Yep, we'll take pictures. Stay right here with us. With a perfect score on his Global History Regents exam, Gregory Baldanucci. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Renata Bobak. With a perfect score on her Flax A Italian exam, Sofia Carrera. With a perfect score on his Flax B Spanish exam, Randy Dean. With a perfect score on his Common Core Geometry Regents exam, Alexander DeVita. Congratulations. Stay up here with us. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Katarina Donaldson. Go slow. Congratulations. With a perfect score on his Flax A Italian exam, Michael Fabri. With a perfect score on her Flax A Italian exam, Ella Fian. With a perfect score on his Flax B French exam, Kieran Fisher. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Melanie Flores. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Christiana Grobe. With a perfect score on her physical setting chemistry Regents exam, Katie Haynes. I'm going to hand that one to you because that's a hard one to get 100 on. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Daniela Hernandez. Congratulations. With a perfect score on her Flax A Spanish exam, Madison Holtzmacher. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Haley Hull. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Julia Jackson. With a perfect score on her Flax B French exam, Nicole Kurtzrock. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Mia Lange. With a perfect score on his Flax A Italian exam, Dylan Lopez. With a perfect score on his Flax B Spanish exam, Maximiliano Lopez. With a perfect score on his Flax B Italian exam, Matteo Marchesi. With a perfect score on his physical setting chemistry Regents exam, Nicholas Murata. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Victoria Otero. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Katerina Papandan. With a perfect score on his Flax B Spanish exam, Anthony Puma. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Isabella Reyes. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Melissa Reyes. With a perfect score on her Flax B Spanish exam, Madeline Rosado. With a perfect score on her Physical Setting Chemistry Regents exam, Rhea Shetty. With a perfect score on her Flax B Italian exam, Stefania Ventura Corte. With a perfect score on her Flax B French exam, Rhiannon Whalen. All right, so these folks got 100 on 2 separate exams. So with a perfect score on the Common Core Algebra 2 Regents exam and the Physical Setting Chemistry Regents exam, Cheyenne Ahmed. With a perfect score on her Global History Regents exam and her Flax B French exam, Courtney D. Cristofaro. With a perfect score on her Common Core ELA Regents exam and the Physical Setting Physics Regents exam, Lilia Lavalsky. Lavalsky, okay, Lilia Lavalsky. Yeah, I'm looking here and, okay, let me see who we forgot. They're off the agenda. Okay, come on up. So Declan got a perfect score on the Earth Science Regents exam. Oh, no, thank you. We will get you a special one, Declan. Thank you for coming tonight. No, that's our complete, that's why you weren't on. Right. Did we miss anybody else? So I'm really excited about the future because we have such bright minds that are coming out of Connecticut High School. Thank you so much for working as hard as you do, because 100 does not come without hard work. So thank you so much for being here tonight and for proving that we do a wonderful job making you ready for these Regents exams and for moving on into the future. So thank you, and I hope your future's bright. Good futures. can screen my results. I don't know how you got this on here, and I feel really badly. Well, I'm going to give this to Joanne. You go back. Thank you. No. Thank you. So earlier this year, the Board of Education put out a challenge to all of our students in the district to come up with an anti-bullying poster, and that we would have a winner crowned from each one of our buildings from all of the folks that decided to put in for that committee, for that poster contest. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Pisani to come on down and just explain it to us a little bit more and talk to us about the process, and then I'm going to ask you to help us give out those certificates. Oh, and Mr. Malafronte, I'm sorry. Oh, no, it was a partnership between Special Services, Student Services, and the Fine Arts and Music Education faculty.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Board of Ed. I'm so proud of the students who participated in our first annual anti-bullying poster contest. We had approximately 500 submissions. And Mr. Malafronte and I and Miss Olivia Fernan, our district outreach counselor, together we had the opportunity to judge and select the winners, and they were fantastic. Their artistry, their creativity, and their message. They did a fantastic job. So we are here tonight to announce the winners, and I will begin, unless Dr. Adams. And the principals are here, yes, for the buildings. Thank you so much for being here and supporting your students. Thank you. Oh, and if you can come down as well, that would be wonderful. Okay. So, does it have the building listed? So James Utwiller, am I pronouncing that correctly? Utwiller? Utwiller? Congratulations. Here you go. Congratulations. Who's your principal? Alexander Gerlin? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Gerline. Thank you, Mr. Wrinkle. Congratulations. All right. I'll have you want to hold that for your student? Okay, wonderful. Audrey Couric? Congratulations. Congratulations. Here you go. Great job. Oriana Cantillo. Congratulations. Over here. Molly Latanziano. Congratulations. Amelia Severs. Congratulations, Amelia. Reagan Huffmeyer. Congratulations. Craig Kramer. Kramer. Congratulations. Erin Palmieri. Great job. Congratulations. And we had 2 overall winners for the secondary. It's Josie and Juliet Stenick for Ronkonkoma Middle School. Josie and Juliet. Congratulations, girls. Yep. And you can have- yes.
So Board of Education, the 2 The two winners from the middle school we are going to hang their posters at central office in honor of their winning this competition. You want a picture? We, they're beautiful. We'll put them on Facebook. We'll put the pictures on Facebook.
Everyone here can't.
We have the posters on our ends, on our computers, and they're amazing. We just wish that they would have been up for everybody to see because they're really great.
We will post them on Facebook, either on on the website and on our Facebook page. Okay? So we know how instrumental our faculty and staff is in everyday work with our students, making sure that they're prepared for everything that they need to do in life. And then we have a special person who steps in and helps out when there's an emergency. And we know that the majority of us would step in and do this work, but this person actually saved the life of a child at Cherokee Elementary School. So on October 27th, there was a third grader who was choking on an object that had lodged in their throat, and Nicole Massey, who works at Cherokee Street with our students, performed the Heimlich, which is no longer called the Heimlich, it's called abdominal thrusts, but it's called the Heimlich, and actually dislodged that, and that child is okay and alive because of the heroic efforts of Nicole Massey. Are you here this evening? Come on down. So before we move on with the meeting, if our students would like to go home and not sit through the rest of the meeting, we will give you a few minutes right now to vacate, and then we'll move on with our business meeting. We're good.
Is there anyone here tonight from the student government to give a report to the board? Come on up. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Marissa Freeman. I'm the Student Government President and Board of Ed Rep. So our Thanksgiving food drive is going very well, and it's ending this Friday. And then our classes are working very diligently on their Winter Spectacular, and our overall theme is Holidays Around the World. And everyone's working very hard, and it's going very good. That's it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to board topics. Does anyone have any committee reports?
I do, go ahead.
Good, you guys can, Marisol go first and then Lee.
Sure. So the Mental Health Committee met November 6th. They are working on the Mental Health Resources tab on the district website. If you go to district and mental health resources, there are tabs there that are active with workshops also that you can click on, and there's some videos that you can watch. Also, another thing that they wanted to pass along to everybody in the community is the 2 hotlines that are available to everybody. So the 988 is a suicide prevention hotline where you get a live person that speaks to you should you feel the need that resource. And also 741 is a suicide prevention hotline where you can text the option. So some people aren't comfortable speaking to a live person and they'd rather just text somebody. They can text 741 or they can call 988 and speak to a live person. They are working on a workshop called Anxiety and Dealing with Stress Management, and I'll have more information on that coming up. Thank you.
Couple of things. I went to the drug, I'm not sure the full name of the meeting. It was very interesting. They invited students to be part of this meeting. All different types of students, 3. It was drug and alcohol. But what I found interesting after listening to everyone speak is they talked about, well, parents can click on a Facebook option, an option on the internet. And I thought, well, the parents in stress, why do they want to look online, see who they can call? So I'm bringing it back to days of old. We used to have, well, we didn't, having a parent facility, or the parents can come to the district. We talked about that. For the community, the parents. And I thought, I thought about it, and I said, well, that's the only way that we can really make this work, have a parent center. And then you told me, Linda, I remember 4 years ago, we had an option to piggyback with Sachem schools and to have it done for free. Was it free? What was it? How did that go?
So about 4 years ago, Northwell Health approached Sachem and Connecticut as contingent school districts who share so many borders, and a lot of students who play on teams with each other. And they said, we would be willing to work in concert with you folks to put together a parent and community resource center for the students within our school and the parents within our school. It was going to be about $500,000 each school district to opt in. At that point, Connecticut declined. Sachem did move forward with that, and I'm not sure where the brick and mortar building is, but Northwell Health was willing to put a group of folks in a brick and mortar building close to the borders of both of the school districts only for our parents and our students to access mental health needs after school hours. Sachem did move forward. There were a couple other districts on Long Island that did move forward with that, and I think those centers opened within the last few months. It did take a couple of years to get off the ground.
Is there any way we can piggyback a local one, Sachem, that local?
I would have to speak with that superintendent and with Northwell Health, but I also know that we've been approached by Good Samaritan University Hospital to have partnerships with them as well. So we probably have a couple different avenues if the board would like us to look into something along those lines and potentially putting together a community and/or parent health center,
Yeah, I would,
resource center.
I think it's time that we really need it. Parents really need to have a place to go, including children.
I will look into those.
Okay, then I met up by accident with a gentleman that once offered, right before COVID, he came here, and he offered Baseline. It's free of the district. It's for all units. They come here with the bus, and they do everything right here on premises. And according to what he said, there really is no timeout. People cover for each other while they're doing it. Bus drivers have a downtime, and, you know, they do all preventative health physicals, blood work. So maybe now that we're out of COVID, I can pass this information back on to Reza, and they can look into it again. I think, Reza, you knew about it, right? You knew about this? Or can you just look into it anyway? Okay.
What do they provide, Lee?
They provide all the services that you know, they would have to take a day off to go normally. Imaging, medical exams, blood work, wellness, physicals, sleep apnea screening. I don't know.
That's for adults or
For adults. You know, they come here, and they do it right on premises. They pick a day, they work with a particular unit, and they come in and they perform all these things so that everyone can just take care of themselves and not have to take a day off in order to do this. So I think maybe they should look into it again. I'll pass this on to you, Reza. And then I saw the Boston School Club. You watched that little segment? That was phenomenal. We have now at the high school, we started a new, right, last year I think we started? This year, a brand new broadcasting class. And if all the schools, especially the middle schools, jumped on this bandwagon, by the time they get to the high school, it's a whole new elective that they could have for their future, you know, for their future. I think it would be really worth taking a serious look at how that can be implemented.
Thank you, Lee.
And
Thank you,
one more.
Marisol.
There's one more. I've been holding off on this. We have more electives in this district than any other district. More electives. So, I don't know if I kept it, but a parent on Facebook, which I don't usually go on any longer, but a parent went on Facebook. It was, what she had to say made all the sense in the world. I don't know if I took a picture of it.
While you're looking for that, Lee, can I just follow up with the broadcast class?
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you would like to see the work of our broadcasting class, which is brand new this year,
Yes, if I could.
if you go on the connectwhat.ccsdli.org website and you pull down the Fine Arts and Music Education Department tab, you can go see the first 3 episodes of Thunder Vision, which is put together by the students and the faculty of the broadcast class. So it's the first 2 editions are the Homecoming Special Edition, Part 1 and Part 2, and then Thunder Vision Episode 3 was just recently uploaded. So if you get a chance to go see the work of our brand new broadcast class, I think you would really appreciate it.
Okay.
Also-
Did you write that?
Also, I'd like to take a moment to say congratulations to our volleyball varsity boys team that went all the way to, they're our Suffolk County champs. They did a great job. They made history, and they have a lot to be proud of. We also have our Long Island champs, who went all the way to the States. Our soccer varsity players and team, they did a great job. They worked hard, and I was able to go to the Mitchell Field game. I know you ended up going to the States. Marisol went to the States. It was great. Ryan was there too. great games, and again, we have wonderful athletes working hard, doing good things, and honestly, it's great that we got to see all of them make history, regardless win or lose. They made history as Suffolk County champs and as Long Island champs, and now we're waiting on our divers, right, our swim, and our gymnasts. Is that who? Do we have anybody else that's? I know we have a couple going to states. That's why.
Do we have any track and field? We might have had some
Track
cross-country
into
cross-country
states
runners.
the same weekend as the boys soccer. I don't recall what Coach Shelby had said Mr. Balducci had placed in, but I think he also did well.
We will be honoring our fall athletes who represented us so beautifully in all of the different tournaments, and with their success, it's really wonderful to have the amount of athletes be so successful in our fall season. So they will be at our next board meeting where we can honor them.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I also wanted to say, and then I'm going to go into the board topic that I do have, that I saw a couple of different things going on. And again, I maybe haven't been to a lot of the older kids' sports. I tend to go to a lot of the younger kids. And what I had seen, which was a little disheartening, was the behavior of some of our spectators. I understand that there is spectators on both sides, and I understand that, we can't police what the other teams are doing, but it would be really wonderful if going forward, our parents, our students, and everybody who comes to cheer on the kids kept it as positive as possible. I mean, some of the things I was hearing, I had a parent approach me, totally inappropriate, it shouldn't have been being said. I understand that young people are young people, but there is a line that we should try not to cross, where behavior becomes vulgar or, inappropriate. Again, so much to be proud of, the kids on the field. We have so many reasons to cheer for these kids and, tell them, positive things, moving them along and keeping the games going. Please, in the future, if you can, do your best to try to, be mindful of how we're cheering, and let's cheer, as positive as we can. Because, that's what we want people to take away from a game, that win or lose. Connecticut is Connecticut strong and will always be that way, and we will support our players, our teams, and, try to do things like that, please. Thank you. This one is for Mrs. Poppy. I had added, and I have it on here, special education services and test-taking skills. I had sent an email, and I appreciate you responding, but I wanted to share it with the public, that I had written that I am hearing from many parents that their children are having issues with test-taking skills, since for the last few years there were minimal tests. I have always supported opting out of tests as a personal opinion that aren't necessary, but understand why some advocate to take tests to help students with test-taking strategies. Hearing this on the middle school level, since 8th graders were in 5th and 6th grade during the pandemic and didn't take many tests at secondary level, and then the other complaints came from the 11th and 12th grade parents advocating for test-taking skills training for these kids going off to college who desperately need it. Some parents are saying, I haven't heard as much on my own children's levels, which are the 7th or 10th grade outside of math. But I'm wondering what we can do as a district to help these children, move forward with this test taking. It has been a rough couple of years, especially with special education and with having more kids looking for 504s and for special accommodations. What can we do as a district to make sure all these children, special education and general education, as well as honor students, AP, are getting the services they all need when it comes to helping them learn how to take tests? Because I've seen, even though we honored so many hundreds, I've been hearing from a lot of parents that this year there has been a lot of kids struggling when it comes to their test grades.
Question based on that. In the middle school, and I don't know if it used to be a separate course, half-year course, but I think they had to enroll it into the 6th grade curriculum. How to take a test, how to keep your notes, your notebook. That's when that little agenda came out. Are they still doing that? Or are they not teaching them how to take a test? But I guess maybe they have to review that more.
Well, I can say that the good news is that at the secondary level, we have a number of opportunities that are built in to student schedules, or that they can choose to have built into their schedules to help sharpen the types of skills that we're talking about here. So, Lee, to your point, that skills course is still in effect in sixth grade. Not every sixth grader takes it, but it is an opportunity. It's still separate.
Oh, I thought one time they told me they it couldn't be separate anymore, they had to combine it into the sixth grade curriculum.
There is a separate course
Okay, good.
currently in sixth grade. And at the seventh and eighth grade levels, we have workshop courses in ELA and mathematics that really hone in on some of the particular skills that students need in order to be successful in their regular English or ELA and mathematics classes. In our high schools, we have similar lab type of courses that are skills-based. Those courses are really kind of honed in on developing the skill sets that students need to be successful to take those exams. I do agree with you that we are looking at a set of students who have not had a typical experience in terms of that large-scale testing. And we recognize that moving into that June testing period of last year. For many of our 11th graders, that was maybe potentially one of their first large-scale testing experiences at the secondary level in recent memory. And that's a challenge, truly. We also have SAT courses at the high school that a student can elect to take. But because we're hearing about some of the concerns that are expressed within the community along these lines, we are looking to build in some workshop opportunities that will be grant funded. They will be free for students coming this spring to help them continue to hone those study skills and those strategies that are sorely needed at this point. So we're looking to add on outside of the school day for those who maybe can't take advantage of those opportunities within the school day.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. I appreciate it.
Can I just piggyback off of you, Jackie? Christina, I've seen a lot of, on the community pages, a lot of parents looking for tutors for their children for various different subjects. If there was any way that guidance or the district could provide a list of services that might be available to parents and or children, I know some of them can be free, if they can help them out, if they know where to go. I think a lot of the problem that children are facing is a lot of them don't know how to study. They don't know how to study. They've never had to study. So they need to learn how to study. A lot of these students are needing extracurricular help. So if we can help them find those services, and maybe the teachers could reiterate when their extra help hours are, that could also help them.
Maybe put it out to the honor societies, because they're always looking for hours, and that'd be great tutoring for them.
I can follow up in both of those veins, so through our guidance department as well as through our honor society members. And we have a number of different honor societies that have also kind of come onto the scene within the last couple of years. So I can certainly do some reaching out in that regard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback on that also? In 12th grade, maybe we can turn an elective into a course for college writing, for bookkeeping in terms of your own life, everything to do with life in the world, and come out of that 12th grade class. Bookkeeping, management styles, what do you do with a credit card, what do you do? I read this on a Facebook post, and it made all the sense in the world. How do you handle credit cards? No one tells kids they go off to college, and especially in today's day and age, you can't handle a credit card.
How about doing wash?
Well, I had spoken
We can do
to
that too.
Christina about the personal finance course and trying to find a way how we can make it a requirement and how to implement that. I know you had been speaking to Mr. Kassane about that.
I have been. We are working on some experiences for our ninth grade students and eventually our middle school students in this regard. Lee, to your point, we do offer a personal financial literacy course that covers some of the topics that you mentioned. And in addition, I do hear that call for college writing, which would be a different type of course, type of elective course. I believe that we have a proposal on the table for next year involving that, a writing-centered course. But that is also an offering I'm looking to push forward in the spring. Grant funded, again, an opportunity for children to avail themselves of that skill sharpening that we're kind of talking about in this vein.
Not all children are going to college.
Correct, yes. And that's not, it wouldn't be a part and parcel of a core curriculum per se. I will say that through our English classes, our students are learning, the three major types of writing that will help them be successful in college, particularly argument writing and information writing, so general research writing and opinion or rather narrative writing. I'm sorry, not opinion, narrative writing. So in every grade, they're having exposure from the time they're in kindergarten to those three writing types. And so, I believe that through our curriculum, there is inherent preparation. But if we're talking about really a more intensified experience, it would be elective in nature.
And that's wonderful, but I also think they really need something in 12th grade when they go off on their own in terms of finance, in terms of.
So we do have a personal finance that is at an elective right now. The board can always, and I'm just suggesting this because you can, add to the requirements for the general diploma. So I worked in a school district where one of the requirements was a half-year parenting course that everyone had to take prior to leaving that school district, and it was one, so New York sets out a specific guideline of the minimum amount of credits that kids need in different, in the different curriculum areas. Boards of education can always adopt additional credits. That would be part of your policy for your graduation. And, it would be something I think probably that should be looked at with a committee of students who are currently in school, students who have graduated, and parents to kind of look to see if that's something that they would recommend to the board to add that additional half-year course for personal finance as a graduation requirement. But then it would be every child must take it and must pass it, like a graduation requirement from the state. But you're allowed to do that as a board.
Versus an elective.
It would still be considered an elective because it's not, no, actually at that point it would be a mandate, you're correct. So it would be a mandated course. It does count toward graduation for students, but it's over the 22 credits that are mandated by the state. So, but it is, if you wanted to mandate that, the board could actually put that in policy and vote on it. But my suggestion would be that you do get some committees together of students who are currently in place, as well as students who have graduated. There are students for whom they take no lunch for all 4 years. So to add an additional point, half a year course, they would be offsetting something else that they may have wanted to take that was different than this. So it's just something that I think we need to look at on a broader scope, and I would do that in some kind of a committee or discussion.
Okay, then do we need a board consensus for you to do it, or?
Would it be, I would not suggest that it may be a board committee because we would bring that recommendation to the board.
For you to go forward?
Yes, I would just need three votes of authority to move forward with a committee.
So you touched on something that concerned me. There are children that do not take a lunch, and my daughter being one of them. How would that impact their schedule? And quite a few kids do not take a lunch. They're filling up their schedules with APs, electives, and so forth. I think you're right about shifting the balance on that.
And that's why I think it needs to be discussion, because there are pros to having a personal finance course in your repertoire, that could be offset by not being able to take some courses that might have given you college credit. So we teach quite a few courses where kids can be co-seated in a college and get college credit for their graduation, which might be bounced out by having to take an elective that's just local. So I think, having a discussion with our curriculum team, with some parents, with some students, just to see the pros and cons, and then we could bring that discussion back to the board at a later date. Okay, I have one.
I'll vote on it, yeah.
Two.
If it's just a discussion, it's just going to be a
It
discussion.
would be a discussion. We would
Yeah.
bring back our findings to the board.
Yeah, I'm fine with the discussion. I don't want to vote on any kind of mandate for a class until we have, full information.
Yep, okay.
But I'll make yes for discussion.
Okay, thank you.
3 yeses. All right, so I have two things that I wanted to discuss. So this week we implemented that chip. So the kids are coming in and out, the scholarship. So when I was at the PTA meeting on Monday for the high school, the way it was presented was the child walks in the building, the chip is scanned, the child enters or exits the building, the chip is scanned, and to enter into the lunchroom, the chip is scanned. Now I have parents that are reaching out to me and they're saying that it's a lot more invasive than that. The way that it was sold to the PTA was that, God forbid, if it's an emergency in the building, it's instantaneous who is in the building. And I appreciate that, I respect that. But if it goes above that of data mining or infiltrating where these children are throughout the day, sort of like a GPS system, I mean, parents are very concerned about it, and I am too. I was told in and out, lunch, and just to see who was in there. Now they're saying it's attendance, it's doing all these other things.
So I'm just going to start the discussion with, this was something that was brought up to the emergency management team over a year ago. And we unanimously said that we needed to be able to keep track of large-scale movement of students. And it was something that the entire committee was really excited about. It did take a significantly longer time than we expected it to, but it is certainly just for mass movements of students into the building, out of the building, and into a mass area where we normally don't have the ability to take attendance like the cafeteria. So I'm going to let Christina speak more to it, but it was something that was brought up and decided and discussed in our emergency team meeting over a year ago.
So Christine, is, say for example, John Doe, he's got the chip. This company now knows who John Doe is. What does the company who is sort of monitoring this, what do they know about John Doe?
So hopefully I can allay some of the concerns that you're bringing to the table. And I think that without this full understanding of the technology, there's certainly concerns that, I can imagine. It is actually being used simply as a check-in mode to those large-scale areas. Today, children were issued the ID card during grade level assemblies. The cards are equipped with a chip. The chip is only activated when it makes contact with a kiosk that is of this particular company, Scholarship. These kiosks, the cards, the chips, the entire system is Ed Law 2D compliant, which is something that as a district we are responsible for ensuring. That is to protect the data of our students, the personal identification information. And so we have done our homework and our legwork in terms of assuring that this data isn't, exposed externally, right? So the data is managed, it is housed in this scholarship program, but that is where it stays. Administratively, our building administration for Connecticut High School has access to the platform, as does our IT management team. The data is not used to determine anything except for the presence of a student, whether they're meant to be in the cafeteria during that class period, for instance. I happened to be on site today during the passing between 6th and 7th period. So what happens is the children line up, they tap their ID card against the kiosk, and on the screen, we're able to see whether that student is scheduled to be in the cafeteria at that time.
Christina, what
Yes.
about a green pass?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The green, what about a child that has the green pass?
If a child has a green pass, what we're having them do is go ahead and slide their green pass into the sleeve of their ID card so that the monitor at the kiosk can see that they are meant to be there that period. So I witnessed that happen, and that worked out fine. I also witnessed a few U-turns in the hallway away from the cafeteria. Those were students who potentially weren't meant to be there that period today. In the event of an emergency, the building administration would have access then to see who swiped into the cafeteria during that period. In the instance that a child forgets their ID card, there is a process in place. So they will not be refused from the cafeteria. It's not as if they won't be able to eat during their lunch period. There'll be a temporary card or a temporary ID issued, a paper ID issued for daily use purposes. And then the children today were told if they lose their ID card entirely, that they're meant to head to the building, their grade level administrator in the building. So at the outset of the day, the goal is to implement this, actually by the end of this month, just inside the doors of the school. So period by period attendance from the teacher, it does not replace that. Okay, so that interaction that many of us know as roll call at the beginning of a class is not removed. Children are not tapping into a classroom. We don't have the technology for that. We just have a few kiosks that are helping us monitor student movement into the school and then student movement into the cafeteria during lunch periods. Correct. It's not tracking, right? It's not an active chip, right? So it's not a GPS. The students aren't being, spied upon or tracked, if you will, throughout their school day. We're not able to tell where they are just by the virtue of the fact that they're wearing this chip-enabled ID. It's really only when the ID makes contact with the kiosk that allows us to determine whether or not they're meant to be there.
So this outside company will have my child's name, potentially date of birth.
So it will have the child's ID information because it syncs with our student management system. So it essentially reads the child's schedule.
So why can't the company identify the child as a number and not a name?
Because visually, when the child taps into the cafeteria, the human part of it, right, the part on that kiosk, and eventually...
I'm thinking of this company that has access to where your child is coming in and out of the building. I'm not concerned really about the internal piece here.
Okay. So there is still a process, even when we do use this for entrance into the school, that when a child taps the ID to go into the building, the kiosk is you're able to see their name and their picture. So whomever, the human who is monitoring the kiosk is able to see whether this child has a valid ID, is a valid Connect High
And I
School
appreciate that,
student.
but what about the human that's the company that you're...
And so that's where we get into the Ed Law 2D compliance, which is the responsibility of the district. That is data privacy and protection for all of our students, for all of our platforms. Many of our instructional platforms are auto-rostered, meaning that those companies are, they are operating their platform through our student information system, right? So ostensibly you could say, well, if we are subscribing to a student platform that is, for instance, providing benchmark assessments for our elementary students, you could say that that company has that similar type of access, right? But because they are identified and contractually we sign with these companies to ensure that they are compliant with ed law, that is meant to be your seal of understanding that they are responsible with the information that they're given. And legally, they're responsible with the information that they're given. We're not able to purchase any type of software that isn't Ed Law 2D compliant at this time. You're welcome.
Is it true that there's, for discipline, and I don't know if this is true or not, I was hearing that rumors that it was something along the lines, if you forget it twice, you're getting some sort of detention or
So I don't,
disciplinary action? I mean, I would totally be against that, in my opinion.
my
Especially in
understanding.
the implementation of it.
Sorry, Marisol.
Like, especially in the beginning, kids are going to forget. 2 strikes and you get detention seems harsh at the beginning, especially.
I don't know if that was said at one of the grade level assemblies today.
It was said at my daughter's grade level,
Okay.
our child's grade level, 10th grade.
Okay. So I think ultimately, the goal is to have students remember their IDs, to have students wearing IDs, and we know that change is hard. We also know that it's a big learning curve, it's a big shift for the building. And I imagine that there was, some conversation during those grade level meetings about, maintaining that responsibility of having your ID, wearing it, having it on your person, so that you're prepared on a daily basis. And so I think that's a detail that is still not concretely worked out. But I imagine that there is the encouragement for students to, again, maintain that responsibility of having that ID on their person at all times.
And also, the picture that comes up when the child scans their ID is the picture that's on the ID?
So my understanding is that the picture that comes up when they scan, they're older pictures because of the timing of when we were able to receive
Yeah, because the ID my
the
daughter
cards.
was given is from when she was in middle school.
Yes. So we'll be looking at the opportunity to update those pictures. It was a timing issue for us. And I know that that did come up at some point today, perhaps in one of the grade level meetings. And, we as adults always want to look younger in those pictures, but that's not the situation for students for sure. Any other?
So there was something else I wanted to bring up. I just wanted to bring up a gentle reminder that discussion that we had at our last board meeting regarding the lunch program. On today's agenda, you are providing the report from July of 2022 to September 30th of 2022. And we look at, and we see is the revised budget of 2.400 million on the revenue. And then we have the expenditure at $2,470,709. So in prior years, we have taken a loss. Some years, a dramatic loss. Ooh, wow. Is he way at the end? Oh, okay, I'm thinking Bob is here. I see this thing there. Anyway, so I just want to have a gentle reminder. Since our last conversation, what more has been done to sort of look at the financial health of the lunch program? Have we come to any conclusions on where we can cut some of this deficit? Again, we're looking at potential revenue. I could tell you right now, we're not going to hit that revenue target. So is this a reasonable revenue target, and how does it compare to the last few years? If I can see, Linda, if you can give me the last 3 years of the revenue targets. And I want to see how far off we are. I know a few times during the year, we are making budget transfers to cover and support the lunch program. If you don't mind, if I can see yearly how much the transfers are that go in to support the program. But again, I just want to know, is anything, any research, anything gone further so that we can kind of understand where these deficits are and how we can kind of fix it? Okay.
Okay, can you also piggyback on that? So I'm reading the clerical and cook manager. I don't know how much of this is insurance. I know we have 4 people that receive insurance. Can you put something together just with our staff and the cost? In addition to, I would like to, because I talked about going to COMAC, what COMAC does, so I'd like to know if we can form some sort of committee and perhaps go to COMAC and meet with them to see what they do to help keep their costs down.
I'm good with that.
And I do have one more thing that I'm sorry I didn't talk about earlier. I went to the bus meeting again. You were on Zoom, right. But it was interesting, they had three students, they wrote an essay, and now they're becoming part of the program. They're the ambassadors, and they're going to be working with middle school and the high school film class called Thunder Vision. They're going to produce a film on school safety and bus safety. We're getting a $28,000, I think, is Bob here? A $28,000 grant to teach bus safety to the community. So they all have to figure out with a group the best way to do that. They were reading their essays to us. They were so excited and very proud to be on this committee. And really it's about the red camera lights. So I guess that should start soon, right? I'm guessing. Because now they have the kids, now they have the program, and they have to work on how it's going to get done. I guess by the end of the year, we should know.
But we'll bring you the video when it's complete, and we'll show it to everybody.
That should be good.
Yeah.
And then also, the bus drivers are trying to make everything more, they're amazing. What goes on there, I never really appreciated the hard work that they put into it. They came out with a new format of maybe how they want to present the buses in the parking lot at the high school, so the kids will know, because a lot of the kids don't even know what bus they take. It goes just by lines. So, and they would get on this bus all the way down. And then if they are walking around, fooling around, the bus has to go, because they can't wait and then expect to pick up the next group on time, especially being so short-handed. And then they moved the parking for the teachers back further. I don't know if it's going to work out, but they're planning on doing this maybe next year. That's it for me.
Well, them switching the times, I think, also helped. Even the few minutes, it made all the difference with the high school. And then you have the Tier 2, which is Cherokee.
Right.
There's only one Tier 2 school, because it's the only elementary that's early. And then you have all the others. So, I mean,
Well, they were supposed to
it has made all the difference, though, the high school changing that few minutes.
I know,
The
but
committee did a great
they want
job.
to go one step better, because if one bus waits, everyone's late afterwards.
The other thing that's coming up, I was here last night I was at the high school last night. Marisol, thank you very much. We were helping pack, snacks and things for the kids' freshman awareness.
And the activity
Support.
boxes for freshman awareness.
I really want to send a big thank you out to Mrs. Goodwin and Mrs. Senft for really going above and beyond for the freshman class to make freshman awareness happen. It's going to be an overnight. It's getting back to how it was before COVID. Thank you to all of the administrators at the high school that are going out of their way to help out. Definitely a great program. It's one I always liked it. It was something that was great. Mylene actually took me years ago, before I was a board member, for my first viewing of what freshman awareness was like, right before I ran for the board. It is an excellent program. It does a lot for our freshman class, and I'm very happy that it's back, and I hope that it goes well Friday. Like I said, I hope that all the freshmen who can take advantage. It's a great opportunity to get to know your peers, and it's a good time. It's a fun time, and you learn a lot. The speakers are normally excellent, exceptional. So like I said, it should be really good, and I hope to see people there.
And they could always use as much hands-on deck as possible. So if your child is 10th grade or up and they need community service or they would like to volunteer to help, please have them see Ms. Goodwin or Ms. Simp in the high school.
Okay, moving on to, if everybody, okay. We have the correspondence. Can I have a motion to authorize the board president to execute on behalf of the board the correspondence set forth in the confidential schedule discussed in executive session on November 15th, 2022?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion so carries. Moving on to the first public comment. That will be for agenda items only. I will now open the floor for the first public comments portion of the agenda. This public comment period is for consent agenda items only. An additional public comment period will be held later in the meeting. Please raise your hand if you have a question or comment on consent agenda item. Does anyone have a consent agenda item? Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just going to finish reading this. If no one raises their hands, I'll continue. Okay. If there are agenda questions, continue. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping to the podium. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to consent agenda items only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes from one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or period. I cannot stress this enough. Again, individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building, or I will have to stop you from speaking. If members of the audience speak out of turn, the board may consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. You may come up and speak.
Hi, I would just like to mention that the National Honor Society has a tutoring program that runs during all periods of the day through guidance in the library. And all honor societies require tutoring from its members in order to stay a member. And so if students need tutoring hours, they can talk to their guidance counselors about that program or the honor society advisors that can get in contact with students to help them with tutoring. And then also, I just have a question. If you forget your ID twice and then you get detention, like policy thing, is not concrete, then why was the entire student body told about it?
Thank you for the information. We'll look into that. Anyone else with a consent agenda item? Otherwise, we'll move on. There'll be another, oh, is it agenda? Go ahead, you can speak.
Thank you. Yes, I also want to reiterate that my children were told about that as well, so thank you for bringing that up, about the 2 times and then you get detention. I have a few questions regarding the scholarship. I started looking at their website. One of the things that was mentioned is that the information is housed in the scholarship program. The pictures, the scanning in. Where
It's not a
is the
consent
scholarship
agenda item.
program?
A consent agenda item is something that the board is going to vote on later.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we're going to ask you to hold your comments until the second comment session.
Okay,
This
it's
is
about
just
this
something the
consent,
board's
it was
gonna
about
vote
the
on.
scholarship program.
The
I just had-
scholarship program is not being voted on tonight.
Okay, so it's not being voted on today.
Right.
All right, so I'll bring that up later,
Yep.
and.
Just get a number from a security guard if you did not.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, wait, I just wanted to check, I'm sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry if we
The
missed.
study buddies is, I don't know if that's something that's still active. I know that they talked about that.
It's also not in the consent, this part is just that the board can hear what the public wants to talk about on things they're about to vote on.
Okay,
So we don't want to mix up that.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so that would be for later as well.
thank you.
I apologize that sometimes people get it mistaken that what we talk about for board discussions is not part of the agenda settings or agenda. Moving on to recommended action, financial matters. Can I please have a motion to approve items 2 through 6? All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any questions? No. Motion carries. Recommended action, personnel matters.
Actually, probably Jesse. Jesse, can you print me the year end, the September, no, it would be June 30th. Can you give me the reports, just how we have it here, but I want the year end? Can you print that for me?
For all the reports there?
I'll take the trial balance, I'll take the lunch program, I'll take the appropriations and revenue.
So everything that's there?
For
I'll
basically
get you-
everything that's there.
So just for June 30th, 2022?
Yeah, I want it for the complete fiscal year, ending in June 30th, 2022.
Okay. So Bob can help out with that.
Thank
'cause I
you.
don't have access, but.
Okay, moving on to recommended action, personnel matters. Instructional and non-instructional. Can I please have a motion to approve all personnel schedules as presented?
Motion.
Second,
Are there any questions?
no.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion so carries. Consent agenda. Can I please have a motion to approve items 2 through 24?
We did, we just did
I
that.
did. I just asked for a copy. I'll motion that for the consent agenda, and I have a question.
Okay, any
Um,
questions?
Yes, it was brought to my attention, one of the contracts, I believe it was the Angel. It was the Angel. Little Angels, that's correct. There's an incorrect date on that contract. We have it here, July 1st, 2020 to June 30th of 2021. Any specific reason why it's worded that way or dated that way?
That was put on by Special Services. It may be that it's a retroactive contract. If you'd like to pull it for now, and we can always put it on in December to make sure that it is meant to be a retroactive contract, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, let's pull it.
Okay, so we're pulling item number 16.
So whether it's, okay, so say for argument's sake, it is a retro, is there a current one?
Good question.
Okay, so I want to know if there's a retro and a current.
Yep.
So just to be clear, we're tabling item 16?
Tabling item 16.
So we're going to 15. 2 through 15 and 17 to 24. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Lee, you guys got to put your mic on, nobody can hear
Well,
us.
never mind. I just liked 20 because it was a teacher's college reading, writing project contract. And,
A lot of good things coming up, a lot of good
yeah,
things.
I like that.
And you know how I feel about that, Lee? For it.
Okay, so again, can I please have a motion to approve items 2 through 15, 17 through 24?
Motion.
Any other questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion so carries. We have now moved to the public comments.
Wait, I'm sorry, I meant to ask a question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Linda, could you elaborate a little bit more on the Stony Brook University professional development?
So that's actually a contract so that we can offer Stony Brook University courses at our teacher center.
And how
To
does,
to no cost to the district. It's the folks who sign up for those teacher center courses will get Stony Brook credit, and they will pay for those courses themselves. Sometimes Stony Brook offers them on site so that we can have a cohort of folks going through the programs together. We have, in the past, Stony Brook has offered administrative courses, and the entire cohort has gone through those administrative courses. I'm not sure we've ever had one here, but without this kind of contract, we wouldn't be able to have that.
Okay, so can you tell me, or maybe get me a list of what type of courses they may be?
So Mrs. Poppy is on the board, so she certainly can.
Thank you.
Yep, okay. I will now open the floor for the open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a numbered card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual, and this I gotta stress, individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. If members of the audience speak out of turn, the board may consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Can I have number 1 at the podium to speak?
Ladies and gentlemen, respectfully, I want to express my sadness as being part of this district and the way it's treating our LGBTQ kids and families. I believe the school district is in violation of the New York State Dignity for All Students Act. At the Connecticut High School PTSA meeting on November 7th, I can't mention name, title, or position, someone stated that there were no complaints made by students or parents claiming that the students felt unsafe at Connecticut High School. I was dumbfounded by this statement. I know parents who have told me they have spoken to Connecticut High School administrators regarding the harassment and bullying at Connecticut High School and the fears their child has when it. I have listened to countless students address this Board of Ed regarding the mental and psychological anguish they have been subject to at Connecticut High School. I have listened to a community member address the board in front of those same students and imply that they were furries with no Board of Ed admonishment for her hate speech. Yet the school district has no written incident report and so can't be happening? The New York State Department of Ed website is clear regarding DASA. If a parent or student even orally reports an incident to a school district employee, that employee has 1 day to tell the DASA coordinator, and the DASA coordinator has 2 days to write a written report. The coordinator is to promptly start the investigation and document the situation in Part 2 of the DASA incident reporting form. The Connecticut School District and Board of Education has institutionalized a policy of neglect and bias against its most vulnerable students. And to further emphasize the neglect, the student who complained about the progress flag was never asked what made him feel so uncomfortable. Can't say the title, can't say the person anymore, can't say the position, stated that they did not ask because the child might have been abused or his own sexuality was possibly triggered. Those very issues cause depression and suicide. The more empathetic response would be to see what resources would be most helpful to the child and not neglect that child's state of mind. I mean, my heart and soul is in this, guys. We have to do better. Thank you.
Number 2? Is there a number 2? Do we have a number 3? Come forward, thank you.
I'm sorry, I get very nervous. The word respect has been tossed around like a fumbling football. For those of you who don't know me, I am a teacher at OBMS and the parent of 3 children who had the privilege of being taught by the amazing teachers in this district. I would like to take this time to recognize some of my colleagues and my children's teachers.
We can't name people by names.
I'm not going to name names,
Okay,
okay?
thank you. You can give it back.
Can I say, like, my son's teacher? Like my son's second grade teacher? Can I say that? Okay.
That's fine.
My son's second grade teacher came to my house to reward my son for learning his multiplication tables during the pandemic. She brought him Carvel with her own money. She also fought to get my child the services he needed. My colleague the other day was out shopping for ingredients on a Sunday night so that her students could learn to cook. She also wanted to model for another teacher, a future teacher, an interactive lesson. I want to thank all of the other teachers who mentored colleagues, who took time to take on student teachers, and who inspired students to become teachers. The English teachers who spend countless hours before and after school during their lunch period to grade essays. The math teachers who have been told at least 1 million times, I can't help my child with math, and we respond, send them in, I will help them. My children's teachers who called me after hours because I work the same hours as them. The teachers who spend hours on the phone with parents trying to find a solution to why their child is struggling in school, or who call to praise a child for their hard work. All of these things do not fit into our contractual day, but we do them anyway because we believe in what we do. We educate our youth. We chose our profession because we love kids. We wear black shirts to show our unity, that we are part of a team who looks out for your children. We go above and beyond our contract each and every day. We come in early, we stay late, we chaperone events that take us away from our families, sometimes for a day or 2, as we are this weekend. We spend countless hours learning technology and its applications so that we could continue to teach during the pandemic. Why? Because we treat your children as though they are our own. We are not demanding respect. We are asking you to recognize all the things we do each and every day that go above and beyond our contract. To me, that deserves respect.
Number 4. Is there a number 4? Number 5.
Hello, my name is Ben. I'm a parent in Connecticut, and I'm here to voice my concern with the growing reports of the hostile environment that is being cultivated in our schools. I am dismayed that this district has continued to stand by the banning of the LGBT flags. Since this ban was put in place, not only have parents and teachers spoken against it, but the students themselves have also come forward to tell you about how the school environment has changed and become more hostile, how bullying and harassment have increased, and how they themselves have not witnessed any disciplinary actions taken by the administration. I continue to question why an alleged complaint of a student that supposedly felt uncomfortable was enough to warrant this drastic measure of a complete ban on LGBT flags instead of being used as an opportunity for education. I appreciate your commitment to research, verifying, and doing your due diligence in learning all information on a topic. Sadly, little evidence can be seen to support this. Why wasn't more time put into researching these flags, into talking with the student that claimed to be uncomfortable and teaching them about the flag, into sitting down with students affected by this ban before it was put in place? There was basically little to no actual effort done to work out this issue prior to the ban. I question why the pleas from the students themselves at these BOE meetings continue to go unheard. Why would this district opt to continue with the lawsuits at the potential expense of our taxpayer dollars, which can be better used for the education of our children, rather than take time to understand the flags and hear the many that have come forward in support of them? Why sit back and allow the New York State Department of Human Rights to continue with an investigation and further drag the Connecticut name through the mud, when simply allowing the flags to fly once again at our schools would make all of this go away? Some ask, why are pride flags needed in our schools? Because Long Island still suffers from LGBT youth being more susceptible to depression and suicide due to how they're treated, where nearly 1 in 4 LGBT youth seriously contemplate suicide and are 2.5 times more likely to suffer from depression and anxiety. I hope that there will be a day in our future when flying LGBT flags and the term coming out are relegated to history books, because that would mean that we as a community and a society have accepted and respected everyone from the LGBT community rather than ostracizing them. Unfortunately, that day is not today. Flying LGBT flags help to counter agendas of misinformation and efforts to dehumanize individuals simply for who they love. This is why these flags are still so important, even today, in halting the increasing contempt that is being fostered across Long Island. Please don't let our district continue to fall prey to that hatred. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to have our legal speak.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your comments. My name is Doug Spencer. I'm the district's attorney. I'm just going to read you a statement real quick. If there's any questions, obviously, you have the opportunity now. So, over the last several weeks, the board has entertained a great deal of discourse and commentary regarding the board's flag display policy and issues related to that policy. Since that time, the district has become the subject of an investigation by the Division of Human Rights regarding that policy. Now, while that matter has been assigned to outside counsel through the district's insurance carrier, who's covering the matter, nevertheless, we understand, like we see tonight, that there are several members of the community that want to further that discussion. Moving forward at this point, because of that ongoing investigation, it is our recommendation as the district's attorney that the board not entertain any further discussion regarding that matter. So there won't be any further statements by the board regarding either the flag display policy or any issues or concerns arising out of that policy. Thank you.
Can you all just let him finish his statement, please?
You'll be able to speak, we just are unable to respond to any of that, as we are not supposed to respond as per Robert's rules to begin with. Okay?
Did you finish your comment? Because I know that you were interrupted.
We're all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Moving on to number 6. Is there a number 6? Do we have a number 7?
Hi, I'm here to talk tonight about the ban on the inclusive pride flag. I just want to start off by saying that ever since the inclusive pride flag ban has taken place, there has been an uprising in bullying in school, which I have personal experience of. The school is supposed to be a place where everyone should feel comfortable and respected. I'm not the first, and I will not be the last student to tell you that I feel uncomfortable and unsafe walking into school every day. Waking up and going to school every day is hard enough without having to worry that someone is going to make fun of you or call you a slur in the hallway. As a Connecticut High School student, I'm telling you that I feel unsafe walking into school every day, not only because the pride flags have been taken down, but because by taking them down, it has enabled those who bully. How many students have had the courage to come up here and tell you how they feel unsafe, and how many more need to before you do something about the ban? I'm so tired of seeing people a part of my community continue to feel unsafe and hated, especially in the place where they're supposed to feel very safe and loved. Being kind and respectful towards everyone, no matter who they are, is not political. It's just the right thing to do. You do not have to like the LGBTQ+ community, but at the very least, you should respect it enough to let us students be the most us that we are and not limit us. Educators are there to help students find the true them, not make them feel like they should have to hide it. By putting the flags back up, it would cause no one harm, but by leaving them down, it's causing harm to many. I'm a student in this school district, and I'm telling you very respectfully to put them back up.
Number 8.
Hi, good evening. I've been asked to pass along the petition to the board. This is a printed out copy with comments from the internet, just so you guys can have it. Can I come down?
You can leave it on the
You can
podium.
submit it to
Security
the
will have-
district clerk. You can leave it, or with security.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 9. Is there a number 10?
Hi, I'm a senior here at Connecticut High School, and according to the message a representative sent to News 12 earlier today, the progressive pride flag cannot be put back up because the classroom should remain neutral. But this flag has been up for over a year, so my question is, what has changed about the flag? Why was it fine before and not now? I know you can't answer that question, but I would still like to tell you that school makes me feel very uncomfortable, so what are you going to do about that? That's all.
Thank you. Number 11.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lisa Gisavo. I am not a resident here, but all school districts follow open meeting laws. I am glad to see that there's an attorney here that can inform the members of what open meeting laws are. And I guess the superintendent didn't get the memo that the attorney said that there should be no comments on the flags. Now, Jackie, I don't want you to flip out because this is a new flag. It has a purple circle and it's yellow. And that's to signify Unity for Intersexual Pride Progressive Flag. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, so I don't want you to get upset, because now this is a new flag which is more inclusive than the progressive flag. So I want to first thank Jackie for showing up in Sayville to give the Pride Progressive flags and having them display it. And if you're going on a flag tour, I would love to give you a list of other schools that can actually use the Pride Progressive flag. So, just give me a second. I have a cold, and it's hard to breathe because I don't want to get anybody sick, so I'm trying to be protective. So, my concern is the statement that was given by the superintendent spokesperson today in the news, where the young lady that spoke before me said, schools must remain neutral and safe so that Pride Progressive flag cannot be flown. What happens to the celebration of Columbus Day then? If you're going to be neutral, then you can't celebrate Columbus Day. What are you going to be doing? Removing Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, Kwanzaa, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, because somebody feels uncomfortable in the district? We cannot keep bending to white supremacy. This is what it is, Jackie. We are multicultural. You are Italian, I'm Latina. We have more in common than white supremacists. We need to be more inclusive. And if this flag makes the kids feel included, then it's not harming anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody. And the people that don't understand, let's educate them. That's what schools do. We can't revise history because some people feel uncomfortable. We have to make history inclusive. Tell all sides of the story so people see themselves in history. Are we going to erase slavery? Are we going to erase colonization? We need to be inclusive. And I know, Jackie, I tried to talk to you personally. I would love to meet with you personally to talk to you because I think that you could be reached. I honestly think you can. Please do better by the kids. Not anything else, but the kids. Thank you.
Number 12.
At a board meeting over the summer, there was a high school student who presented a really great idea about a student-teacher center. And it's a center that's attached to guidance focused on transitioning students into their careers after graduation. The center would offer help with college application process or perhaps moving them straight into the workforce. I'm not sure if this idea was implemented. It was fantastic. I don't know if you've implemented or not yet. But I was actually wondering if it could be combined with something I saw from Sachem. On November 7th, they hosted something that they called it a curriculum night, and it was for 8th and 9th graders. And it was an opportunity for parents and their children to participate in a series of curriculum presentations with discussions about the grading requirements, whatever they would need, to prepare them for their educational, occupational, and military goals after high school. Do we have anything like that? No. Oh, you do?
So
Okay.
we do, yes, and actually it's on the main calendar, scheduled for January 11th, 2023, for our 8th grade parents and students to attend
Excellent.
this type
Okay.
of evening.
Very nice. Okay, thank you. Another thing I wanted to ask about, which I recently saw, back in June, there was a webinar by April Francis Taylor, Director of DEI, from BOCES, and it was basically to advertise services to help school districts implement the NYSEG culturally responsive sustaining educational framework. And they offered all different packages for districts to choose from. Did Connecticut have them take part in this? Do you know?
We're unable to answer questions at this time, but we can,
Okay.
if you ask the questions, the superintendent will have somebody email you back with the answers.
Excellent, thank you. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was actually that scholarship, which you addressed earlier. I was also at the PTSA meeting, and, you know, I was told there was no GPS attached to it. I did ask, but I did, of course, I looked up the company, and I did notice that in February 2021, they advertised their in-school location tracing, which sounds kind of like a GPS. Also, in February 2021, they posted a video about using scholarship to track behavior. They also promote the use of behavior management systems and support schools, they support schools capitalizing on their SIS, I guess it's SIS, which stands for Student Information System, which is a modular software that acts as a repository for all student data, capturing information about your students from their enrollment to graduation, enabling educators and administrators the ability to extract data for any reason. This is to help create a behavior intervention plan for disruptive students. Furthermore, in April 2021, they wrote an article about keeping track of 6 students to minimize spread. This company, I know, you know, what you said that we're using it for. I really want to know that we have oversight. This kind of sounds like a slippery slope. I don't know that we want to head down that road. They have our children's data. And, you know, other intentions of this company, behavior tracking, wellness tracking. We know they have their schedule. Obviously, if they know they're supposed to be in lunch, they obviously have their schedule. I really, really want to stress oversight into this. We don't want to head down that path. It can get very, very scary if people have, these third-party companies have our information. So, thank you.
Thank you. Number 13.
Hi. Hello. Parents, this is your fight. These are your children. You have to make the choices. They keep saying how bad Connecticut is, making the whole school district look bad, to try to bring parents to their knees so we'll cave into these ridiculous contract demands. Are you ready to give up your children to the association? Hey, rank and file. Ever think that when you make Connecticut look bad in the newspapers on Facebook, as teachers, people believe teachers must also be part of the problem, you get the same stink on you. Taxpayers, if you're at work and someone you work with gets sick or leaves for a child emergency and you have to jump in and help do their job, how much more do you get paid? You know what? Teachers get paid $68 for 44 minutes of watching someone else's class. If they do this 10 times a year, it jumps to something like $82. That's a nice perk. This year, the association spends $65,000 on an election. Next year, these lies are going to cost them $100,000. And the teachers better be prepared to send $250,000 to the New York State PAC to get back 100 Gs. So why is a big contract so important to them? Probably more important than our children getting an education, because they have their respect shirts. And I really think this is what their respect shirt should say. It should be a $. I look around and I see rank and file that is still getting bullied. How can we expect you to help our children who get bullied to figure out how to stop the bullies when you can't stop your own bullies? Respect does not come on the back of a shirt. It comes from earning it. Respect is never a gift. It's never demanded. Time for the good teachers to take back their association. Since contract and money was so important, why was there a meeting all summer? Rank and file, why not ask that question yourself? But better to waste money on demands. Respect is earned, never demanded. Last meeting we heard screams, Jackie, 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 I want to talk to you. We heard screams and name calling. We saw a 3-line email apology that passion caused all this. Is that the same kind of passion an abusive husband tells his wife he has after he smacks her around? The verbal abuse can be just as bad. I saw teachers running for the exits. They knew where the exits were as when this was happening. And this email was the only apology they got. You know, I could see having no stomach for that. And why should you? It was wrong, rude, and out of order. And you all know it. Thank you.
Number 14.
Respect, right? It's so fun when I hear people talk about that. I always wonder if those are the very people who think that they deserve respect.
Excuse
Anyway,
me?
good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My
People in
name
the
is-
audience, please keep it down.
My name is Dr. Kerry Spooner. I'm an educator. I live here, raising a wonderful 9-year-old son with my wife. Having hopes and dreams seem an inherent part of parenting, I've found. But when people in positions of authority venerate hatred found in the corrosive resin of misinformation and faulty logic, sometimes it's difficult to keep hope alive. And when respect for demagoguery is held by those who determine policies and practices in our school districts, then hope is no longer a luxury my wife and I can afford. So saying something like this, our school district is neutral, so LGBTQ primary and secondary school students are not bullied. Our school districts are neutral, so our LGBTQ primary and secondary school students are not harassed. Our school district is neutral, so the LGBTQ primary and secondary school students are not discriminated against. Simply saying that a school district is neutral doesn't make it a fact. See, the fact is that the LGBTQ community, your students here, face discrimination, bullying, and harassment at school from their peers. Then they're punished for their own victimization, for their own attempts to defend themselves in a hostile school climate. The Center for American Progress and Movement Advancement Project point out, compared to other students who experience bullying at school, LGBTQ young people who are bullied and harassed at school often experience more severe consequences, including school discipline, risk of substance abuse, mental health challenges, and missed school, thoughts of suicide, and lower aspirations to attend college. So I'm happy to see that the school district has an active, still today, a harassment, hazing, and bullying policy, and an anti-discrimination. And you're right to point out in your own policy that discrimination is an act of denying rights, benefits, justice, equitable treatment, or access to facilities available to others. So you also say that the board designates an annual organizational meeting, a district-wide Dignity for All Student Act coordinator. So I'm assuming that you have this coordinator, right? So this person handles all human relations in areas of race, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practice, disability, sexual orientation, gender, and sex, right? But you also have to train.
You got to finish up.
Yeah, you also have to train employees, right? Also administration. But my question to you is, are they training you guys? All right, thank you.
Number 15.
Hi, I have a question about the transportation. I have international students that have been coming for 6 years now, and I had the transportation from the elementary school, and they ended the transportation. Now, I want to know if the board officially voted to end the program, because from what I see, it doesn't show that they ended it. One person who was on the board, who was no longer on there, decided to stop the transportation.
We can't answer questions. What we
Okay.
can do is if you ask the questions, the
Yeah.
superintendent is taking notes, and we'll be able to email her the questions,
Okay.
and she'll be able to answer them or get the answers for you.
Okay.
But you can ask them if you like now, so.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, because the school is encouraging international students to come by, and you're giving transportation if they're going only to the public schools, but not if they're going to the Catholic schools. That never was, though, because I did it for 6 years. And all of a sudden but it wasn't done by the board you guys didn't sign that. It wasn't done legally. One person decided that. Did you take a vote on it? Did everybody take a vote on that as far as ending it?
Why don't you email me or call me?
Okay, I will, because it's not right with the taxes that we're paying and what we're going through right now as far as hardship and all that about having to pay for transportation. Well, some of us have to work 2 jobs to be able to afford to live here, and we got to pay for them to get transported to the school because you're not giving the bus service that we are entitled to with the taxes that we pay. That's all I have to say. So I'll get through you then later.
Thank you. Number 16.
Hi, good evening. My name is Francisco Herrera. I am a resident for the past 20 years. I have 3 kids that have, one child that has gone through the district, is now in college, 2 that are currently in school. I respectfully came here today after speaking to one of the superintendents this morning. I also had an issue that I'd like to keep private, and the reason that I'm doing so is to respect the people on the dais, to respect the board itself, not bring this out publicly, because this is something that I want to discuss with Ms. Adams privately. I'm assuming you guys know why I am here. Some of you guys may not. This is a matter that no parent should be going through personally. I want to leave it, like I said, once again, private. I do want to say, I've been an educator for 20 years. I'm also an administrator. I know the jobs that you guys are demanding, but I also know how rewarding at times it may be. And I respect every single one of you sitting on that dais for what you do. I applaud you, but this is a time where I am speaking as a parent, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I addressed the situation. This is now going on the 5th day. I addressed the situation yesterday with the high school principal. They promised me that they'd get back to me that day with an answer. which they did not. I then brought it up to, and I'm not mentioning names, but I do want to thank you for your ear this morning. It was greatly appreciated. My wife and I did appreciate it, but I was also told that I would get a call back. And I asked if they can possibly
Mr.
call
Herrera,
me back.
There's an open investigation going on, and so having this discussion now is really inappropriate.
I understand that,
And
but why,
therefore,
why
there's a
not, why
reason-
not a phone call, Mrs. Adams?
Because the investigation wasn't complete by today.
I was told that I was going to get a phone call yesterday. I was told that I was going to get a phone call today.
If you'd like a meeting with me, when the investigation is complete,
I am
you can have a meeting with
respectfully
me.
asking for a meeting tomorrow morning with you
Sir,
and possibly a board member.
When the investigation is complete, then you can have a meeting with me.
I'm sorry?
When the investigation is complete, you can have a meeting with me. So call my secretary, and we will put it on the calendar.
I'm sorry, it's actually not a proper topic for public comment because there is an active investigation going on. And really, for your own family and for the other families involved, it's just inappropriate for us to speak about it on this platform.
What's inappropriate is that, and I didn't want to leave it, what's inappropriate is that my son is in school. At the same time, the other person is in the same school. Okay?
Okay.
That's what's inappropriate.
Sir, I'm sorry, we've given you all we can.
Do you
with
know, would you know the timetable of when we can possibly meet?
this. Tech, you gotta cut the mic.
Mr. Santo, please cut the mic.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to move on. Number 17. Is there a number 18? What number did we go up to? Do you want to go up to the 26th, or do you want me to vote on the 30 minutes?
Yeah, I'll vote to extend.
Okay, I need 3 votes for a vote to extend. Okay, vote. There's 27. She was fine. Okay, so we'll go up to the 27. Thank you, guys. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second?
To go to
Yes, to go up to 27. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're moving on. So we're up to number 19.
Hello there. Hi, my name is Emma, and I am a senior at Connecticut. I just wanted to say a quick thank you for letting me speak. And I just wanted to let you know what the Progress Pride flag means to me. It's just added representation for marginalized communities within the LGBTQIA+ community. Specifically, it's representation for trans people, for people of color, and those we've lost who are currently living, for those who we've lost and who are currently living with HIV and AIDS. But to me, it's just more representation. I understand that some people wrongly believe that this flag is political, but you've made it very clear to students how you're all about our safety through the locked classroom doors and our new student IDs that we got today. So if you're all about our safety, how is taking down a flag that represents us keeping us safe? I know you can't answer that question. And I also just wanted to touch on what was said earlier by someone about respect. I respect my teachers. They earn my respect through supporting me, through helping me when I need it, for being at these meetings, for texting me when they know that I was sick from school, and making sure that I am okay. I hate that I have to say this, I don't respect this board, because they are not helping me and my fellow students who have come here resolve this issue that shouldn't have happened in the first place. Thank you.
Number 20. Number 20. Number 21.
Good evening. I am here in my official capacity as a SEPTA board member representing the entire SEPTA board. We would like to address the unfortunate misleading representation of an issue that is currently overshadowing the wonderful work our district has done for all of our student populations. We would like to clarify some information with you, please. I personally have attended the last 3 Board of Ed meetings listening to people speak about vulnerable populations and inclusion in education. We are wondering what is being done to represent the special needs children in the district that were given no choice but to be thrown in the middle of all of this. It is everyone's opinion that the children were to allow multiple interruptions in their learning environment during the classroom period on a regular basis. Parents would like to know how this was allowed to take place with no correction by the classroom educator or the administration in the building. Was this situation ever brought to anyone's attention that this class was constantly being interrupted and maybe an alternative room could be utilized during the education hours instead of children being expected to just get back on track? We thought we had mindfulness rooms and expanded on the mental health certified staff for these situations. One would like to think we do not have to explain the differences or difficulty in staying on task after an interruption when it comes to children with special needs, or do we? How come there was no oversight in the building when curriculum-based learnings were taken down to allow room for club-based materials to go up? Why was this done during a learning classroom time? There was a picture that has been shared in multiple newspapers across Long Island where it clearly shows learning boards in the room that were replaced with flags. The saying icing on the cake stands true here. Due to the lack of transparency regarding the situation as it truly stood, it was never about a flag, nor what it represents. It was the disappearance of an educational environment and curriculum-based learning materials and the replacement with club-based materials and personal beliefs in a special education classroom. How is that an educator can put their personal needs ahead of a child's academic success? Here we have an adult that put themselves ahead of their students, disrupted their learning environment with no regard for their special needs students and the curriculum that they were supposed to be teaching them. What is to be done going forward? When it didn't start with a flag, but was led to mislead the public and easily influence the student population that it was, why did not one person involved in this situation stand up and correct the course? Our kids are vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable. They just want to be included, heard, and considered by the people charged with providing them with the education that they deserve and have the right to. When they're taught to self-advocate, and they do, why was the environment turned harsh when they used their voice finally to say that they were uncomfortable? Why is it loud and clear that only one population is important in this situation? Everyone wants to use our vocabulary, but truly does not understand when the message is loud and clear that they should have just sat silent, understood the world around them, or more so, it should have just been explained.
Can you please finish up?
What will be done going forward to protect our special education kids? We as SEPTA would like to add that the children here deserve an official apology from their teacher. And if anybody would like more specific information, they can reach out to my...
Thank you. Number 22. Number 22. Number 23.
My name is Allison. I'm a Connecticut parent. I actually didn't prepare anything tonight, so just bear with me a moment. A little confused as to why you wouldn't put the flags back up, which would drop the lawsuits in the first place, after using a policy that doesn't actually pertain to the flag in order to pull it down. I'm also confused as to now this is the second time we have a situation where something serious obviously happened, I don't know the details, and you are sort of dragging your feet and pushing people aside from speaking when maybe there are assemblies and things that the school should be doing in order to benefit all of our children and teach them how to be better to each other, when in another situation, one child is uncomfortable and immediately flags must come down. It's very biased and it shows a lot of intolerance, and we are not educating anyone. And it is very hurtful to a big portion of the community.
23, please.
I apologize ahead of time. I'll be talking really fast. 3 minutes is not long enough for me, and we all know that. Okay, a couple of good things. Mental health, still trying to get in touch with Yes Connect. The lady is very difficult to get in touch with. I'm sure she's super busy. A lot going on with mental health across the island, so trying to find out more information about that. Reached out to the superintendent at the Sayville School District because they did actually just recently run a suicide prevention program, and the parents actually thought that it was actually one of the best programs that they had ever attended. So I felt that that was something that I wanted to look into to see what it was about. And if it was something that might be good for our district and a good fit for here. And that's, if it is, I would love to, obviously, always, you know, I pass the information on to you guys. Spoke to a couple of other people that I know in the mental health capacity, and they recommended a few other places and people and programs. I will be looking into that as well. More information, more resources, always a great thing. Back to the scholarship, not a fan. I did hear some rumblings, I have to look into it more, that they were actually sued twice for data mining, and they won. The lawsuit was won against them. So I'm not sure 100%, so I don't really want to put that out there as fact, because that's something I definitely do have to do a little bit more research in, since I had very limited time in looking into this particular company. But I do want to say that they definitely are marketed as, it says that they're school safety operations, which on its face, I want to go into this saying that as a positive, like, oh, we're looking for school safety and things like that. A lot of information that's tied to this scholarship. Let's see, classroom attendance, visitor management, and tracking, which, by the way, my child was told that they could be tracked throughout the building with it. So if that's not what you're doing and that's not what you're saying, that's what they're telling the kids. So that's something. And I'm not on board with that. I'm also not on board with the children having to scan their phones to use the bathrooms, which we were told that they would not have to be doing that anymore last year when we had an issue with that. Google Maps doesn't need to know where my kid is all day long. That's weird. And the district isn't providing phones for our children. Not okay. The other thing, let's see, what else does it do? Paperless referrals and behavior intervention and tracking. So I don't really think a third-party company needs to have kids access to their grades, to their IEPs, to their 504s, to their mental health evaluations, to their health information, to their family stuff. You have a third-party company, and while you could say that they're encrypted, I still think that there's an issue with that. We've had issues with companies with that before, and we definitely need to look more into it. I'd also like to know how much this costs, so I would, if you could email me that information, I'd appreciate that. And I'm going to go back to Ms. Poppy. I appreciate that you were trying to be very kind and saying, oh, well, you know, they're just trying to encourage the children to, they're trying to encourage the children to bring their things. The fact that they had the nerve to threaten the children if they forgot their ID twice that they would get detention, you have got to be kidding me. Show me the list of how they're going to punish staff every time they forget something. So as the children say, miss me with that.
Number 24.
At the last meeting I attended, I grabbed the number to speak, but later decided not to address the board because the temperature in the room was a little hot. That was until someone took it upon themselves to pretend to have my assigned number. So I went up and decided to speak about broken policies. I have zero tolerance for liars and untrustworthy individuals, including those that invite a satirical comedian to our school board with the intent of making a mockery out of its members and the community, which is also, to me, bullying. LGTB network of Long Island, helmed by prominent gay activist David Kilnick, who sources say long bragged about his political connections, lost 7 of his contracts with the State Department of Health following an investigation that began in 2019.
Please, let's not yell out. She's talking.
On March 7th, 2022, the New York Post reporters wrote an article. They lost $10 million in funding after an investigation was found to mishandling funds it received each year. The organization has failed to provide the department required to show that it has spent their money effectively and efficiently. So the DOH decided to
Can you please just connect this to school so that we...
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
We're
getting
giving you
to
that
that.
leeway because
I'm
it's
getting
being
to that.
spoken about.
Okay, so I'm going to connect it to the school. The reason why I'm talking about untrustworthiness is because the LGBT advocacy group has launched a team of Pride Patrol volunteers that will be attending school and library board meetings on Long Island. So,
Out of turn, or we will take a recess.
so basically what I want to say is that by ending these contracts, DOH has decided to find others providers for LGBT in the community in Long Island. Maybe we shouldn't be using somebody who's untrustworthy and who has lost all their contracts with New York State. So please choose your leaders carefully, and remember, no response is a response because silence can be viewed as an answer. My question is, how would the board be addressing this, and what is their motive? In addition to that, I just wanted to talk about the solar chip. Yes, the children were told 2 times detention. My question is, where is the scholarship program being housed? They said that all the data gets housed in the scholarship. So I want to know where the actual program is being housed. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 25.
Hello. My 7th grade daughter, who you honored here tonight, thank you, received her RMS ID badge today. And after seeing her adorable 5th grade photo and learning more about the program today, I do have some questions. So if you're not able to answer them, if somebody could get back to me, I would appreciate it. I know that the 6th to 7th period transition into lunch was observed today. I would be curious how long the scanning process takes. How much of the lunch period is being eaten up by students waiting to scan into the kiosks, because that's valuable time to our students, so losing that is an impact. I would also ask if the function is just for mass movement, why are students required to wear it all day? I would assume that it's a bonus security measure. I am a licensed clinical social worker, so I can tell you with some authority that there are safety and security measures that make adults feel better, but actually erode student feelings of safety. So I would just caution against that. And lastly, I would ask if there is a system in place for transgender students who don't use their legal name to request a new badge with their chosen name. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 26.
Good evening. I'm a parent as well as an educator. I think that's all I'm allowed to say. I just have some concerns regarding the recent things that have been going on for the past 2 months, since October 7th, basically. I'm very concerned with how this whole situation with the pride flags occurred. I do understand everybody has their own rights to their opinions and thoughts, but if one person has feelings and it has gotten so large, has there ever been thoughts to a discussion group or a peer group that people could sit down intelligently and discuss their feelings and maybe perhaps discuss understandings and empathy and sympathy? Because what's going on in the schools today, it's frightening. Again, I'm an educator and a mother. Do you know how heartbreaking it is to listen to my daughter be afraid to go to school? She's a senior and afraid to go to school at times. And I understand you're an attorney and you guys are the Board of Ed and you can't comment. So I'm just trying to appeal to you as a parent. How would you feel if your child comes home from school and says that? Maybe a nod, something. Wouldn't it break your heart? We're all human beings. And I think there are better ways than, unfortunately, lawsuits and everything else, that this could have been simply handled. a discussion group. There could have been a meeting. There could be somebody to address, right? We have Drug Awareness Day. Can somebody come in and talk about sexuality so that our children, the students, can have open minds and maybe just some understanding of what's going on in the world? And then I know everybody, I can't say my name, so I don't understand how anyone's going to get back to me to answer my questions. But I really would like somebody to.
You
I
can
really
say
would
your
like.
name.
Oh, I can? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. My name is Jennifer Freeman. Okay, thank you. I really wish that this could be not a legal liability, costing taxpayers money, costing us all money. I really would like us all to possibly sit down and help educate the community as well as the student population we live in. And it's really heartbreaking to hear my daughter being afraid to go to school and all of the bullying. And I'm aware of the time, I have 26 seconds. And I just would like somebody to get back to me to explain to me how this occurred, why no peer mediation was done, or just how, what about all this bullying? And if someone could just explain to me how it's being taken care of. Because I have to admit, in my school where I teach, I would never, ever allow this to get this far, nor would I ever let a student feel this uncomfortable. Thank you.
Number 27. Is there a number 27? Can I have a motion, can I please have a motion to adjourn the November 15th Board of Education meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.